have heard of internet firm Cloudflare. Even its CEO says that. Last week, though, it got a lot of attention. It terminated the account of the Daily Stormer, a neo-Nazi website. That was in the wake of the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville. Now, other web hosting services had dumped the site already, but Cloudflare's move meant it would no longer protect the site from cyber attacks. Earlier, I spoke to Cloudflare's chief executive, Matthew Prince, about why he did it. He told me there are dangers in regulating content on the internet.
The content on this site, I personally found incredibly repugnant. I mean, it was, as you said, vile. It was something that was extremely disturbing. And yet, and again, that may be the right editorial decision for people who are more upstream. And certainly we should hold the content creators accountable for the vile things that they put online. The question is, who along that chain should be making that decision and who shouldn't? Take Google as an example. Google, 2 days before we banned this site from using our network, banned it from using their registrar services. But there are a lot of other services that Google uses. They run a DNS service, which is sort of like the phone book for the internet. They run a browser that is the market dominant browser. They run an ISP, and obviously they run search. Across none of those did Google pull their support. Technically, they could have, but again, it feels wrong to consumers. It feels wrong if your browser is making decisions about what content can and cannot be online. And if we chain together a whole bunch of different entities, all of which are making slightly different moral decisions, the risk is that we collapse the internet to what is the lowest common denominator. And again, I think that's a real risk, and that's something that we need to be aware of, and we need to think through before people sort of jump to the immediate easy answer, which is, of course you shouldn't have Nazis using your platform. That's disgusting and vile. But we have to think about what's the consequence if we let every link in the chain make that decision on what is and what is not allowed content.
And Matthew, to those who say, by saying you're the plumbing company, you're just shirking your responsibility.
Well, again, I mean, I think that it is, we obviously have a right to choose who does and does not use our network. And if we have that conversation and we say, yeah, actually Cloudflare should be making editorial decisions, then that will be, you know, a policy that comes out, and that's what is publicly there. I'd ask again, if you've never heard of Cloudflare before and you hear that we are choosing what content you can and cannot see online, does that make you feel good or bad? And I think that most of the people that have talked to us about that, when you take away what this particular content was and you say, should that company behind the scenes that you don't even know that you're interacting with, should that be the place where editorial decisions get made? People get really uncomfortable, and I understand that. And again, I think it's similar to if I said, you know, the laptop that you were using is not going to let you go to some sites, but it will let you go to others, and that's made by the decision of the manufacturer of that laptop.
And one further thing, I'm just interested in your opinion of this. You know, I've tracked radicalization now for the better part of a decade, more than a decade, and I have seen it move from the internet to what they call the deep web, because they've gotten clever and they encrypt everything and they know everyone's spying on them. And, you know, there is that old adage that sunlight is the best disinfectant. By taking this stuff off of the web that you and I can peer into, is there a danger then too?
I think there absolutely is a danger, and again, I think that's one of the pieces of the First Amendment that's really quite wise. It's very easy to make the decision to take things offline, and that feels good, but censorship rarely changes people's thoughts. It just causes them to go underground and be more hidden. I think the best way to fight ugly, vile speech is with good speech. As Nelson Mandela said, you know, people aren't born hating. They learn to hate, and if people learn to hate, you can teach them not to hate, and that, I think, is a better solution. And I think the tech industry can play a role in that too, by promoting that content, which shows why these sorts of opinions are, you know, not the future.